Hello, everybody, and you're listening to the Smooth Operative Podcast. This is your host, Jubilant Rich, and in this episode, I'll be giving you my thoughts, tips, and tricks for Tac Op selection in the current edition of Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team. Now, first of all, we will start where we start, which is in the Seek and Destroy section. Here, the first one we actually have is Headhunter. Now, it's a pretty straightforward one. Basically, if you kill an enemy leader, you get 1 VP. And if you do this, and it's the first or second turning point, you score an additional VP, therefore maxing it out. Pretty straightforward. I would say that being as basic as it is, you may as well take it whenever you can. In some ways, it can be beneficial even if the enemy hides their leader back there, because more often than not, the leader is going to be the guy that's better at fighting, better at shooting, and if they're just, holding back in a corner somewhere, that can be an advantage to you, and eventually you will reach them. So you may not max it, but the chances are you will reach them at some point to kill them, and then that. Of course, that really depends on who you're facing or who you're playing, but either way, I think it's a fairly good pick. And next in the Seek and Destroy section, we have Challenge. Reveal this Tac Op in the target reveal step of the first turning point. Select 1 enemy operative and 1 friendly operative. If that enemy operative is incapacitated by that friendly operative, you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition while the enemy operative is within pentagon of that friendly operative, you score 1 VP. Now, difference here between this and Headhunter is you'll be revealing this one before you take out your target. When I was talking about Headhunter earlier about leaders hiding back, well, there's no incentive to actually hide a leader in this particular edition because they're no longer CP batteries. They give you the 2 CP, I think, at the very start of the game. And then that's it, after that they can run around the board, killing and whatnot, and, you don't really care for the most part if they die. Unless, of course, you know that they've been challenged, such as in this Tac Op, or if you have an inkling that your opponent has Headhunter. So with Challenge, I feel that there's too much potential for them to hide their the person that you've challenged. So I think it's a bit more detrimental there than, say, Headhunter. And again, it's just the whole thing, like, if they know, and they'll try and play around it. So I don't think I like Challenge as much as I do Headhunter. And next up we have Rout. You can reveal this Tac Op in the target reveal step of any turning point. If an enemy operative is incapacitated by a friendly operative that is within pentagon of your opponent's drop zone, you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition in any subsequent turning points, you score 1 VP. It's very straightforward and pretty hard to counter, unless, of course, the opponent's started on the line and has dashed every single model in their kill team. You are very, very likely to score this unless you don't kill anything in a turning point, which I know can happen, but like I say, it's a very, very straightforward, very easy to score one, and I'd say if you can take this one, you really should. And then we have Execution. Reveal this Tac Op at the end of any turning point in which more enemy operatives than friendly operatives were incapacitated during that turning point. At the end of the battle, if more enemy operatives than friendly operatives were incapacitated during 2 or more turning points, you score 1 VP. At the end of the battle, if more enemy operatives than friendly operatives were incapacitated during 3 or more turning points, you score 1 VP. Not one that I'm particularly fond of, if I'm being honest. I probably because it relies too much on killing things, and for me, who prefers to play the primary objective before killing things, I think it'll be a very difficult one to actually score consistently. If of course it comes up that you can, you've got a choice between this and something else, and this is the better one, well, take it of course, because you got no other choice. But it's not one that I personally want in my deck. Next up is Deadly Marksman. After selecting this Tac Op, secretly select one friendly operative to be your marksman. You can reveal this Tac Op when an enemy operative is incapacitated by a shooting attack made by your marksman, while your marksman is wholly within square of your drop zone. If any other enemy operatives are incapacitated by another shooting attack made by your marksman, you score 1 VP. At the end of the battle, if you achieved the first condition and your marksman has not been incapacitated, you score 1 VP. So, yeah, the writing is pretty much on the wall with this one. For one, more often than not, if you have chosen this one, it's because you have a dedicated marksman, in your kill team, and depending on faction, who that is going to be pretty obvious more often than not. So they're going to be a target straight up. Then you have to factor in the fact that you need to be within square of your own drop zone to even qualify for it whenever you take an enemy operative out. Then you have to take out a second operative to even get the first VP, and then the operative has to stay alive. So I just don't like it for those reasons. Basically, it's hard to max, and especially once you have revealed it, it's going to be even harder. So not really one that I'm overly fond of, if I'm being completely honest. And finally, in Seek and Destroy, we have Rob and Ransack. You can reveal this Tac Op when an enemy operative is incapacitated by a friendly operative within triangle of it, and that friendly operative is more than square from other enemy operatives. You score 1 VP. At the end of the battle, if you achieved the first condition and that friendly operative has not been incapacitated, you score 1 VP. A very, very simple one, I think, to max. It's quite simple. Because it's not dictated by any one model on either side, right? You can basically just hold this one back, literally, until near the end of the game, like on the final turning point. And whenever you've taken out the last model or last threatening model, then you just reveal this Tac Op, you score the VP, and it's the end of the battle, and your guy hasn't been incapacitated. So there you go. Very easy one to max. I'd say Robin Ransack in some ways could be an auto take. And even if your opponent thinks that that's the case, the only way they're going to counter that is to basically wipe out every single model in your kill team, so that you can't score it on like that final turn. If you, of course, you hold back that long. I mean, I personally would, because otherwise you run the risk of, once you reveal it, this guy who's running around with his this pocket full of change ends up just getting blasted off the table. And well, I know it would only be like one VP that you'd lose at that point, but that one VP could cost you the game. You know, it could be the difference between a win and a tie or whatever. So in summary, with Seek and Destroy, I think my ideal hand would have to be Headhunter, Rout, and Robin Ransack. Like I say, these are the three which I find the most appealing to me out of this particular archetype. So yeah, if of course that's not what you end up, if of course the draw doesn't allow for that sort of hand, then you're going to be stuck with a few annoying ones maybe. But at that point, you're just going to have to make the best out of what you've got. Such is the way of things, I'm afraid. So our next archetype is Security, and the first Tac Op in that is Seize Ground. Reveal this Tac Op in the target reveal step of the first turning point. Select one terrain feature that is more than square from your drop zone and includes any parts with the heavy trait. At the end of the battle, if the total APL of friendly operatives within triangle of that terrain feature is greater than that of enemy operatives, you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition, there are no enemy operatives on or within triangle of that terrain feature, and the total APL of friendly operatives within triangle of that terrain feature is 4 or more, you score 1 VP. Pretty mediocre, I'd have to say. And basically it's like, it's giving you another objective that you need to capture, essentially, which could easily be countered if you're up against a swarming unit, or sorry, a horde type kill team. I'm not really seeing any positives to this one personally. I mean, there might be some who disagree with me here, but personally, I just don't think it's for me. And next we have Hold the Line. You can reveal this Tac Op in the target reveal step of any turning point after the first. At the end of any turning point, if there are no enemy operatives within Pentagon of your drop zone, you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition, at the end of any subsequent turning points, you score 1 VP. Pretty straightforward one to score. Basically, if if there's anything that gets close to your drop zone, just kill it and make sure that you kill everything that is within that certain range. Of course, depending on where what you're playing or what you're facing, that is going to be potentially hard to score, just because if you're like if you're trying to hold the line against Custodes, for example, you're probably going to have a bad time. And the same with, say, Death Guard or any of the other durable factions. And based on that, I don't think it's particularly great. In fact, I mean, I'm going to get to this at the end, but there isn't really a lot in Security which I can say makes me think, oh yeah, I should really take Security as my archetype. But like I say, I'll get to that in the summary. And then we have Protect Assets. You can reveal this Tac Op in the target reveal step of any turning point. At the end of any turning point, if 2 or more enemy operatives were incapacitated while within circle of an objective marker during that turning point, and or while carrying an objective during that turning point, you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition at the end of any subsequent turning points, you score 1 VP. Again, dependent on killing things, specifically 2 things at the very least. So much like Hold the Line, I think it's a bit too dependent on, what sort of opponent you're facing. I suppose you might pick something like this, or even Hold the Line, if you're facing off against a fairly fragile faction. But otherwise, again, it doesn't really scream out to me. And then damage limitation. You're more than likely going to take this if you're playing something with 18 wounds custodian and basically like things like Tyrannid warriors or whatever, because other or like I say, any of the durable factions, because this just depends too much. Let me actually read it out here. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You can reveal this Tac Op in the target reveal step of any turning point after the first. At the end of any turning point, if no friendly operatives were incapacitated during that turning point, you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition, at the end of any subsequent turning points, you score 1 VP. So, yeah, I mean, this is probably something that you're gonna... You could max it out with a durable faction, like I say. But for anything weaker than that, I don't know if you're going to be able to max it. That's just my personal interpretation, just how I feel like things are going to go. Maybe all Gene Stealers. Maybe that might be one which can benefit from this. But I don't even think all Gene Stealers would be able to take security anyway, so that's kind of redundant. I'll double check that later, but I'm pretty sure that's the case because they don't strike me as security type operatives. And now, Plant Banner. After selecting this Tac Op, secretly select one friendly operative to be carrying your banner token. Reveal this Tac Op when that operative drops your banner token. When you do, until the end of the battle, the pickup action can be performed by friendly operatives upon your banner token. At the end of the battle, if your banner token is within Pentagon of, but not wholly within, your opponent's drop zone, you score 1 VP. At the end of the battle, if your banner token is wholly within your opponent's drop zone, you score 2 VP. Operatives can perform the following mission action: destroy banner for 1 AP. An operative can perform this action while within triangle of the center of an opponent's banner token. Remove that banner token from the kill zone. An operative cannot perform this action while within circle of enemy operatives. Very, very long-winded and annoying Tac Op, I must say. Not one that I'm particularly fond of based on that. And also, it's not very specific about certain aspects of it. Like, reveal this Tac Op when that operative drops your banner token. But you can't drop the banner voluntarily, from what we can see here. And it did actually come up in the LGT whenever my opponent had it. Like, I mean, it was ruled basically that, the only time it's actually dropped is, of course, whenever the person with the banner is incapacitated. And it doesn't even specify that here. Bottom line, I just don't like this one. It's just too confusing. Until, of course, we get like some proper FAQ on it. I mean, I don't remember if there was any anything about this in the recent FAQ, but to me, it's just a little bit bleh. And then finally, we have central control. You can reveal this Tac Op in the target reveal step of any turning point. At the end of any turning point, if the total APL of friendly operatives within square of the center of the kill zone is greater than that of enemy operatives, you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition at the end of any subsequent turning points, you score 1 VP. This is probably as good as you are going to get with the security ones. It's not really reliant on killing. Definitely a bit dependent on surviving. But the idea is basically if you can get into the center and there isn't any other, if there isn't any enemy operatives within that sort of area, then you can score it at least for 1 turn and possibly another turn. But bearing in mind you've only got 4 turns within which to do this. Like I say, it's as good as you're going to get, but still not amazing. But if you feel like you can actually pull this off, then take it. You know, don't listen to me. But I mean, I've managed to get it and max it in games where I've taken it, but I think I was more of just the luck of movement, really, rather than any actual plan. So in summary, like I say, I don't really rate security as an archetype to take because there's just so many bad choices in that particular deck, and it's just you're kind of gimping yourself if you're gonna rely solely on this sort of you know, on these sort of Tac Ops. So if I were you, I would avoid this particular archetype like the Plague, unless you're playing Plague Marines. Our next archetype is Infiltration, and the first Tac Op in that is Capture Hostage and Infiltrate. You can reveal this Tac Op when an enemy operative is incapacitated by a friendly operative within circle of it, and that friendly operative is more than Pentagon from other enemy operatives. Remove that friendly operative from the kill zone and you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition and it is the 3rd or 4th turning point, you score 1 VP. Considering the fact that this can be held back until the late game, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, it could even be much like Robin Ransack, one of the last things that you end up doing in the game in order to actually max it. Just trying to see if there's anything that contradicts me there. Not really. I mean, you don't really need to reveal it until you know, you've actually incapacitated the enemy operative that you're going to capture, and it's not dependent on any one particular model on your side or the opponent's side. So yeah, I think that this could be one that you keep as a ace up your sleeve until the late game. Yeah, I think based on that should be absolutely fine if you can, you know, max out everything else and then at the end score the 2 from this. Yeah, I think this could be quite useful. So if you can get a hold of this one, do so. And of course, if you can make it to the late game with a particular faction, again, this is a good one to take, I think. So next we have Behind Enemy Lines. You can reveal this Tac Op in the target reveal step of any turning point. If one or more friendly operatives are wholly within your opponent's drop zone and more than square from enemy operatives, you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition at the end of any subsequent turning points, you score 1 VP. Pretty straightforward, I suppose, but I'm just trying to find some downsides here. I suppose the downside is well, yeah, you have to be in the opponent's drop zone, which some, I mean, there's a few, I mean, there's a fair few factions that can actually do that and still be away from enemy operatives. And you only need one guy in the opponent's drop zone in order to do this, and you just gotta do it over like 2 turns. Fairly average, I suppose. Yeah, I think if I was taking an infiltration hand, I'd like this to be in it. So yeah, that's about all I can say on behind enemy lines. Just fairly standard, really. Alright, and then we have upload viral code. You can reveal this Tac Op in the target reveal step of any turning point. If a friendly operative performs the upload viral code action, you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition in any subsequent turning points, you score 1 VP. Friendly operatives can perform the following mission action. Upload viral code for 2 AP. An operative can perform this action while within pentagon of your opponent's drop zone and not within circle of enemy operatives. So this one is, again, pretty standard, pretty simple to score. It's just a matter of getting somebody to a certain point on the board and performing a 2 AP action. The only thing is, you'd be better off with either A, operatives which are durable enough to be in that particular position if they've only got like 2 APL, because, you know, they wouldn't be able to get there and perform the action in the same turn, having only 2 APL. So it's better if they're already there. And if you get the initiative, great. If you don't get initiative and someone pops that guy off the board before he has the chance to perform the action, you're you're out of luck there. So it could either be down to the roll of the dice whether or not you get the initiative, like I say, or if you're durable enough to actually weather the storm of shots or attacks coming your way in order to perform this action. And if if of course they are attacking you in close combat, you probably won't be able to perform this action anyway unless you've managed to kill whoever it is that is attacking you, because you can't score it well within a circle of enemy operatives. So I don't know, I suppose it's about average, not one which I'd be fishing for if I was to take the infiltration deck. And then we have implant. Now with this one, you can reveal this Tac Op when you would strike an enemy operative in a combat. Instead of inflicting damage on an enemy operative from that strike, you can implant that operative instead. That operative does not lose any wounds from that strike and you score 1 VP. If 2 other enemy operatives are implanted, you score 1 VP. I like how it can be scored because it's not entirely dependent on killing anyone. Really, it's just a matter of as long as you can get some strikes in. So there's a fair bit of potential to get it with like hordy melee teams, I'd say, especially to max it out, which is of course what you're really aiming for here. So I'd say that this is one that you probably do want in your deck, just on account of the fact that it's fairly easy to get at the very least the 1 VP from. So based on that, I'd say implant is relatively good. And next we have my favourite song by the Beastie Boys, Sabotage. You can reveal this Tac Op in the target reveal step of any turning point. If a terrain feature is sabotaged by friendly operatives, you score 1 VP. If any other terrain feature is sabotaged by friendly operatives, you score 1 VP. Friendly operatives can perform the following mission action: sabotage, 2 AP. An operative can perform this action while within triangle of a terrain feature that includes any parts with the heavy trait that is wholly within or within a pentagon of your opponent's drop zone that has not been sabotaged by friendly operatives. An operative cannot perform this action while within circle of enemy operatives. If this action is performed by friendly operatives, that terrain feature has been sabotaged by friendly operatives. Well, again, entirely dependent on being somewhere at a certain point and surviving to perform this action. Though I suppose one thing I actually did want to mention, but I didn't get to, with the upload viral core is free APL teams will obviously have a better, chance at doing this sort of one. But I don't know. It's not ideal. I will say that. I'll give it that. So yeah, I think it's a little bit too similar to upload viral core for my liking, and therefore it's a no from me unless I have no choice in taking it. So next we have Interloper, and this is after selecting this Tac Op, secretly select one friendly operative to be your interloper. You must reveal this Tac Op when your interloper performs the interlope action. Remove your interloper from the kill zone and score 2 VPs. Your interloper can perform the following mission action once. Interlope, 1 AP. Perform this action while within triangle of an enemy kill zone edge and more than square from enemy operatives. So with the sneaky deaky factions, this one is probably pretty easy to score, and you can easily be held back again until the late game, much like capture hostage and infiltrate. So yeah, I'd say that this is probably a definite yes from me. So in summary, for infiltration, I think my ideal hand would have to be capture hostage and infiltrate, implant, and interloper. These all seem like the easiest 3 to score out of the bunch. And I think with certain factions, you're going to have a very good time with being able to actually score them. So yeah, I think infiltrate in itself, or sorry, infiltration is about average as far as archetypes go, and those 3 would be the ones which I'd try my best to take if possible. So our final archetype is RECON, and the first Tac Op in that is Mark Target. You can reveal this Tac Op when a friendly operative performs a shoot action. When an enemy leader operative is selected as the target of a shooting attack for a shoot action, and no other shooting attacks are made for that action, you can attempt to mark that operative instead. Complete the shooting sequence as normal, except that if any damage would be inflicted on that enemy operative, it does not lose any wounds and you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition in any subsequent turning point, you score 1 VP. Well, I mean that's pretty straightforward, really. Um, and of course, the reveal only happens whenever you actually perform the shoot action. If the opponent basically, put their leader out there, to be shot, they've opened themselves up to all sorts of, Tac Ops scoring, basically. So it's really down to how brave or foolish, the opponent is, I guess. Um, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's very easy to score if the guy is out there, letting you do so. I think some other factions will definitely have an easier time with this. It's very, very thematic for the Tau, and with marker lights, that they'd have an easier time of actually scoring it, which is weird because you'd end up needing to use marker lights to make it easier to score mark target, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, like I say, it's a pretty easy one to score, and I'd say that if I had to take recon, I'd probably factor this one into my hand if possible. Next is triangulate. You can reveal this Tac Op in the target reveal step of any turning point. If 2 kill zone edges are triangulated by friendly operatives, you score 1 VP. If 3 kill zone edges are triangulated by friendly operatives, you score an additional 1 VP. Friendly operatives can perform the following mission action: triangulate for 1 AP. An operative can perform this action while within a square of a kill zone edge that is not your own kill zone edge and has not been triangulated by friendly operatives. An operative cannot perform this action while within circle of enemy operatives. If this action is performed by a friendly operative, that kill zone edge has been triangulated by friendly operatives. Very, very simple, straightforward. You basically have to perform this triangulate action on all 3 of the kill zone edges which aren't your own. Whether or not you get there and actually do this is down to who you're playing against, and in some ways the luck of the dice. It's so straightforward. I'm not really seeing that many downsides apart from the fact that you have to be very positional with it. I'm trying to think if there's ever an instance where you wouldn't be able to max this, or when it would be really hard to. And I think those instances would probably be if you're playing a low model count kill team, because someone with way more bodies than you could just throw all sorts of guys at your operatives in order to keep you from getting all 3 edges that you need. But apart from that, I don't see too many major downsides to this one, and I think if I was forced to take recon, I'd probably have this one in my hand. Then we have Plant Signal Beacon. You must reveal this Tac Op when a friendly operative performs the Plant Signal Beacon action. At the end of the battle, if your Signal Beacon token is within pentagon of your opponent's drop zone, you score 2 VPs. Once per battle, a friendly operative can perform the following mission action: Plant Signal Beacon for 2 AP. Place a Signal Beacon token within triangle of this operative. An operative cannot perform this action while within circle of enemy operatives. If any enemy operatives finish a move within triangle of the center of your Signal Beacon token and more than circle from friendly operatives, remove that Signal Beacon token. This is clearly one which you can hold back until the late game, and then just drop it down and get your 2 VP. So I don't see too many downsides to this, just as long as you drop it at a point when it's safe to do so, which, like I say, is going to be probably the final turning point. Whenever you've got a nice little cordon, I suppose, around the area where you're going to drop the signal beacon, if you've even got the bodies to do that. So yeah, I'd say this is definitely a decent pick. Then we have Vantage. I don't even know if I really want to read this one. It just strikes me as so terrible. So Vantage, you can reveal this Tac Op in the target reveal step of any turning point. If a friendly operative performs the Vantage action, you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition in any subsequent turning points, you score 1 VP. Friendly operatives can perform the following mission action. Vantage for 2 AP. An operative can perform this action while on a vantage point that is not within your drop zone and has not been secured by friendly operatives. An operative cannot perform this action while within circle of enemy operatives. If this action is performed by friendly operatives, that vantage point has been secured by friendly operatives. This is probably only going to be scored by Harlequins, if at all. I mean, leave, in the comments if you've managed to pull this off with anything but Harleys consistently, because I personally just don't really see it as one that you really want to be taking unless you I don't know. I just don't see it myself. It's just not really one that I rate. So then we have Retrieval. Reveal this Tac Op in the target reveal step of the first turning point. Your opponent places your retrieval token anywhere in the kill zone that is not on a vantage point and not wholly within a square of their drop zone. The pickup action can be performed by friendly operatives upon your retrieval token. At the end of the battle, if a friendly operative controls your retrieval token, you score 1 VP. At the end of the battle, if your retrieval token is being carried by a friendly operative, you score 1 VP. Okay. Alright, so I guess the difference here is if you're near it, you're controlling it, and if you are, of course, if you perform the pickup, you're obviously carrying it. Don't like it. Too dependent on your opponent doing the placement of the objective there, and more often than not, they're not gonna place it in a point where it's going to advantage you, nor should they. So based on that, that's just a simple straight up no from me, unless of course I have no choice but to take this one. And finally, we have Overrun. You can reveal this Tac Op in the target reveal step of any turning point. At the end of any turning point, if a friendly operative is wholly within each kill zone quarter and more than square from the center of the kill zone, you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition at the end of any subsequent turning points, you score 1 VP. Hordes. Hordes are taking this, and that's all I can say about that. If you're trying to take this with like your Marines, or I dare say even your Custodes, you're probably just gonna have a bad time. I think you want to have a kill team of about maybe 8 models minimum, maybe 10, because otherwise I don't see you scoring this, never mind maxing it. But that's just my personal take on it. So to summarize Recon, think it's a bit of a mediocre archetype, really. But if I was trying to get an ideal hand, I'd want that to be mark target, triangulate or overrun, and plant signal beacon, I'd say. Because I've told you my thoughts on vantage and retrieval. I just don't like them. Again, if of course you have no choice but to pick either of those two or both, then sorry. But yeah, I mean, I say the other four are better picks in my opinion. So that's all I can say on that. So for my final thoughts on Tac Ops in general, I'd say that my favourite archetypes would have to be Seek and Destroy and Infiltration. They're ones where I actually find myself actually liking some of the potential picks which come from those decks. Incidentally, I am actually working on a Bloodletter kill team, and they can only take Seek and Destroy, so I've obviously got my ideal hand for those pretty much sorted out. And with Infiltration, that's something which I'd be very much inclined to take if I was running Genestealer Cultists, which are another faction which I'm kind of dabbling in at the moment. So maybe I will actually try and get both kill teams made up and experiment with those two, a bit more with those two particular archetypes, so I can see if what I'm seeing on paper and from previous experience with the game actually rings true to what I've already said in this podcast. If you have any thoughts of your own, if you disagree with me on certain points, then leave those thoughts in the comments, of course. For those of you who are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Helps me a great deal. And for those of you who are subscribed, I thank you. Well, in fact, I thank everyone really for listening, and I shall hopefully see you on the next video. As for the next episode of the Smooth Operative podcast, I haven't got a damn clue what I am going to do. However, I am thinking, because there's not a great deal of content out there about them, I've been thinking of maybe doing a Genestealer Cults tips and tricks sort of episode. However, I feel like because I'm currently focused on the actual building of my Bloodletters, it's probably more likely that any videos that I do pertaining to my own hobby journeys or tactics will probably be pertaining to, well, the demons, specifically Bloodletters. Anyway, like I say, like and subscribe. Thank you very much for listening, and I shall speak to you all next time.